It's beautiful here in the afternoon sun. It's very cold at the moment here in Denmark, late February. So yeah, it's exciting to be doing this channel, and thank you for all you who have written comments and messages and emails. Thank you very much for your feedback and yeah, your wonderful words. Yeah, this video is going to be yeah, it's going to be a little bit about God. I know I talk about God a lot, but it's when very bad things happen on earth, it's very stressful for all of us, and people who don't believe in God yet, they have a very strong reason to not believe, because they think, if there's a God, how can so much pain happen on earth? And I suppose you sense this already, what my answer is, but I'll just say it here. So it's because we have free will on earth. It's just all how I see it and how I felt it ever since I became a believer, that God loves us all, and we're all connected to Him. We all hold His being in us, which is just very hard to grasp. God's body is everywhere, and so we're all these precious beings. But we have the choice to do good and bad, and to figure out what is good and bad can actually take a whole lifetime, because what I can just see from myself, what I thought was good was actually not good at all. So, but really, violent actions that are really, really destructive do shock everybody who's witnesses it and hears about it. But as I've understood this, it's simply because this person or whoever is doing these things, and we all do them to some degree. They just don't go into the newspapers, but we all do things that are destructive and not good. And it's simply because we have the choice, and we're able to do it, and we all do it to some degree. So, and whoever is, I mean, if you're the offender or the victim, we're all really part of the whole. So it's all really deep down, it's all actually something we've chosen. I was just reading and channeling by the angels, and it was connected to this incident in Florida the other day. And that's what they're saying, that the people who are the victims of this, and the people who know the victims, who also become victims, they're all part of it. On a deeper level, they've chosen this because it's part of their learning process. And it can sound so strange how some things that are so horrible are meant to be and are important for our learning process, and we somewhere in our conscience or subconscious choose it. But as I see it, we do. And if you believe in reincarnation, which I believe in, but it doesn't really matter, the whole law of karma and all this, which they say is really ending. It's soon, it's over. If you let go of all this, I mean, every time you forgive someone who you haven't been able to forgive, you release yourself from the old. But people who have done, or all of us who do these horrible things, whatever it is, when we come back, often we'll be the ones who are the healers and the helpers, so to bring the balance. So it's all part of the big whole. And as I see it, it's also it's also a test for all of us at the moment, because there's so many bad things happening on earth, to stay centered and stay focused on the light, because it's vitally important, and it's part of our growth, the whole thing, that's the enlightenment that's happening on the earth. It's very difficult because all these bad things are happening and it's grabbing our attention. And it's not that we should not care and just say, oh, you know, whatever, I don't care, because we do care. But the thing is, if we have our mind focused on these things, we get pulled into it and pulled down, and we can't move forward. So we get disabled by it. We get, what do you call it, paralyzed. So it's really up to us how much we wish to see on the news about what's going on. And as I see it from my own personal point of view, I don't see it, I don't really hear about it, other than through these channelings, really. But the thing is, there are horrible things happening all the time, and this is the only thing that's going into the news. But really, the world is, I mean, just look at what we do ourselves, but just look at the next door neighbour, spraying chemicals all over the soil again and again and again, so it goes into the drinking water, we have to drink it. The animals that are treated really, really bad, children who are treated bad. I mean, there's just so much going on, and if we were to focus on all this, we would just not be able to go anywhere. So it's really, I think, when you really understand this, that it's everything outside you is mirroring you, and the more you focus on the love and the light in your heart, the more all this will actually go away, because you heal the earth by when you stop using your energy on these negative things. So really let them go with love, and trust that it's all happening because it has to happen for these people, and that you have the choice to stay centered and loving and trusting and peaceful, and you do the most powerful thing you can do at all on the earth by doing that. And as I forgot to say about the power of prayer, which you can just keep talking about, but you can pray for people. And the thing is, when you pray for someone who's sick, they've made these scientific tests where people pray for someone they don't know. They only know the name. They don't know what's wrong with them. They don't know the person. They just say the name and they pray for them. And they've had these two groups, one that they didn't pray for, and the other one that people were praying for. And it was people who didn't know these sick people from all over the world. They just had the name. And the people who were being prayed for, they healed faster. It's so powerful. And the fact that when you're praying, you yourself become much more peaceful and much more powerful because you feel you can do something. So that's another thing about prayer, that when you pray for someone, it helps. It helps immensely. Yeah, so while we're talking about this, I just want to mention two things that I found on the internet, and they might not resonate with you at all. You might not think they're very good at all, and you might just think it's really helpful. So one I'll just mention again. It's a man called Lee Carroll, and he is channeling an entity called Kryon, Kryon. And his website, he has many websites because he just does so many channelings. But I'm pretty sure when you go onto YouTube, you have to go to YouTube, Kryon, you write Kryon YouTube channelings. Then you're going to get the freshest one, the ones, they're coming in, the newest ones are coming first all the time. On other pages you have many old ones mixed together. So Lee Carroll has been doing this for 30 years, I think. And I think some of the channelings are very, very wonderful. Some are all about Pleiadians and things I don't know anything about. And I don't really use them, but he talks all about this. and the entity is, it's really God, or it's a part of God that's being channeled through him. And he says that this is what is happening on earth, is that we are all who wish to be enlightened, we are all going through this process, and it's very hard, it's very challenging, and even our bodies feel like we're dying sometimes because everything is changing in us, but we're entering into a new world and into a new life that's beautiful. So and I can feel it in my own life, how it's changed. My life has changed so much, and really it sounds so strange when you first hear about it, but it's all about really basically being authentically you, and deciding with yourself, allowing yourself to step away from the old life that you knew, and allowing yourself to become the new you, which is actually the authentic you. So in the future, if you wish to go through this process, which you probably are if you're watching this, because that's really what I'm nearly all I talk about, you will be moving it more and more into a life that is very, very beautiful, and where you are deeply and authentically yourself. You are relaxing in the beautiful being that you are, and you're living a life that is fulfilling and meaningful and just filled with joy, and it just builds and builds and builds the more you do this. So going to these channelings can be really helpful, because you get it all, it's all being repeated again and again and again, what's actually happening on earth. So, and another one which I found, which is also very powerful, is a woman called Alba Weinman. So it's AlbaWeimann. And she's a type of hypnotherapist, and you can see her on YouTube, where she puts people into hypnosis, and they're just lying. You just see their face, their heads, and they're lying down, and they go back in time into the deep subconscious, where we have all memories stored. Since the moment we came from God, we can remember everything. Everything is in there. It's stored not in our mind, it's in our deep subconscious. And these people connect to this place, and their own higher self, which is their subconscious being, speaks through them. So their personality drops away. And they're very strange, some of the things that are being told about these, E.T. beings, all these strange things. And really, I don't really listen to that, because it just doesn't really resonate with me. But people are speaking about, for instance, about their past lives, and they're also speaking about the new earth, and it's very, very powerful and very beautiful, really, to see. And it just gets you an idea that for many of us, we've lived many, many lives, and we have a lot of memory within us, and a lot of the things that we have not released yet is still pulling us down and affecting us. And also deep down in our subconscious, we know that there's something very, very beautiful coming. So, and I just love Alba Weinmann. They're very long, those videos. They last about an hour or two, maybe 2.5 hours. And you can really just see how much you want to look at. But one thing I really love is her voice. And she says it's actually not her own, the Alba Weinmann, it's not her normal voice, it's actually her own higher self that speaks when she's asking them as they're in the trance, when they're in the trance. She speaks with a very, very beautiful voice. Very, very sweet, lovely voice. So you can go and have a look, and you might think it's very, very strange and just leave it. But I think for myself, my goodness, I love to see things like this, where you really see that under the surface of all these human beings, under what we can see, there's all this wisdom and all this knowledge, and it is all in this fantastic order. There's nothing to worry about. So it's a fantastic encouragement, I feel, in my own life, to just stay centered, although you feel your life is completely falling apart and everything is completely strange, to just stay in your own core, just do what you feel is true for you. And that's the way you move forward. And not push anyone. Sometimes you have to push someone a little bit, but let people be with love. Just send them your love. But people you don't want to talk to, don't talk to them. People you don't want to be with, don't be with them. Just relax. Because we've been so used to being so nice and so polite, but it hasn't brought us deep joy. It's not not authentic. So we're really being told by the spiritual world, be yourself. Be your authentic self. There's nothing more beautiful you can be. So yeah, with this video I'll be finishing February, the month of February, and I think it's wonderful to actually have these months like a packet, or yeah, and to structure them, put the videos in so I feel it has a nice feel. And so we'll be going into March in a few days, and thank you for being there, you subscribers, and if you wish to continue next month, you're very welcome. We're still a very small group, and it's actually very fine for me. So if it's okay for you that we're only a few, it's good. So God bless you. Take care. See you.